Hello, everybody. It's Just In Case and Jerry Maldonado back for another episode of Meatball Perspectives. The internet gods are picking on us a little bit this week, but we're going to work our way through it. We're going to do the best we can. So, hello, Jerry. Welcome back to
Well, hello
Meatball
there, Master
Perspectives.
Meatball. Yeah, things happen, especially with the internet. God forbid it's like reliable. But yeah,
Well, yeah, it's
always good. Always good as far as that. Not a problem. We didn't have our traditional, boom, but we'll add that later on in the segment. Maybe a little edifying that thing.
Yeah, we could have tried to put that back together, but we would have missed the episode. So we're doing it lean and mean.
Oh, lean and mean, and never without a script, man. Just kind of going through the motions. Kind of how we live. That's how we roll.
Yeah, it's not like we waste time on rehearsals.
No, that makes it boring, man. I mean, even my own live shows, I just put a few notes in and there I go. Yeah, I might stutter, but it happens.
All right, Jerry. So what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
I wanted to emphasize speech as we talked about this in the short little pre-show. To me, speech is kind of everything in our life because we kind of give ourselves a little speech every day on how we talk. We've talked about this before on America's Newscape. I talked about it with Facebook Live on self-talk. But speech is actually derived is our thoughts and feelings expressed. It's actually a noun. Isn't a noun question? Isn't a noun a person, place, or thing? And that I've always wondered about that, but it's not a noun. It creates a person, place, or thing. So speech is an amazing way of you dictating your future before your future even happens. And what gave me the idea for this show tonight was a Japanese fellow, a so-called pseudoscientist, as they kind of labeled him, guy. His name was Masaru Emoto. And he had what they call, you might have heard of this, the rice experiment. Did you ever hear about that?
I don't think so. If I did hear about it, I put it out of my mind as fast as I could, but I would like to hear about it again.
Well, stuff like this interests you and it intrigues me to hell. This guy, back in Japan, he was a best-selling author on how feelings and thoughts affect the water molecules. And he said, wait, let me try this experiment where I'm going to set up 3 cups of rice in water, and he's going to put labels on them, man. He's going to put down one. He's going to have a positive little note on it, put that in one part of the house. He's going to have a negative one, put that on part of the house. And then he's going to have one that says ignore. We'll call that the meatball one. Kind of just puts that one way in the back somewhere, totally ignores it. Every day for 30 days, this guy gets up. I can only imagine what his neighbors thought of him. He starts yelling at one of these, of the negative one, yelling at this cup of rice, covered, mind you, in the same water as all the other ones are in. Starts yelling at this cup of rice every single day. He degrades it, totally shuts it down. I hate you, this sucks. And he walks over to the other side of the place, and he starts talking to the nice positive cup of rice that is covered with this cup in water, saying how much he loves it and how grateful he is to have it in front of him. And he's grateful that it feeds him every day. And he did this for 30 days, not even talking about the meatball back there. He just kind of ignored that one back there. Did this for 30 days. In 30 days, the positive one didn't change at all. Sitting in the water, you would think it would start decomposing by then, but this thing did not change at all. The negative one turned black. It completely rotted, which is quite astounding. But the one that he ignored, the meatball back there, just started a little bit of decomposition. What he proved was that our vibration connected with the water molecules to either pollute the water or enhance the water. My question to you and to everyone else out there is, if we're made of up to 75% water, our bodies, how we speak, how we feel, how we act to this body that's encumbered and immersed in water is going to react from that.
Wow. That's interesting. And I may try this experiment. How many hours a day did he do that? Do you remember?
There wasn't, and I Wikipedia'd him. I know Wikipedia is just just a basic. I was just getting basic knowledge, but he did it for 30 days. I'm not sure what he did, but if you do a search on the Japanese rice experiment, you're going to see how people did it throughout the world. But the science field totally shot him down. Kind of sounds like Einstein, man, when they didn't believe him with his so-called theory. Now they're all jumping and saying yippity-doo, and the guy was right. This guy was the same way. But if you look online, it's everywhere. And it just proves a point that, people talk so casually and how detrimental they talk about themselves when they're literally affecting the molecules of water in their body. And it's something for people to really grasp for themselves, because our reflection of ourselves is not just what we see, but what we say.
Well, let's assume it might be environment. And I'm going to try it. I'm going to set up a cup of rice in water, and I'm going to make it watch The View 15 minutes a day.
Only you would come up with that.
And we'll prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's a destructive.
You are going to get red flagged by YouTube and everything. You get open.
No, I don't think so.
You open the Pandora's box. So. But no, you bring up a great
I'm telling
point.
you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's the environment. If you sit in a pool of shit and have it affect you,
I love this guy. I love you so much.
You're doing yourself damage.
Yes, indeed. And you bring up a great point. What are you allowing in? I ask people questions all the time.
Right.
What are you watching every day that is affecting that 70% of our body that is made of water? Because thoughts become things indeed. But if our body is made up of this water, and our thoughts and feelings affect how it reacts, our lungs are 85% of water. Our brain is 75% made of water. Think about it. I mean, do the research for yourself, because thoughts indeed do become things, but they affect every part of us. Our body's like a big sponge, and that's not just some metaphorical thing. It's a literal thing. It's a literal sponge of water. How you react to it is what you attract from it.
Right. It's where, SpongeBob could have an effect on you, because he certainly has an effect on water.
You're on a friggin' roll tonight. He's just taking all the philosophy and just throwing. I love it. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
I'm not making fun of the philosophy. I'm trying to
totally
come up with easy ways to test it.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I love the dialogue. He just takes a scientific experiment. Yeah, it's SpongeBob. I love it. I friggin' love it.
Hey,
this is why we don't have a script, Meatball. This is why we don't. I love it. This is why we don't have a script. We just bring out the best of our psychotic selves.
Well, to be fair, the faux Japanese self-acclaimed scientist back in the day, he didn't have these resources. He didn't have The View. He didn't have SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
So we're gonna modernize it a little
bit. Yeah, well, it's amazing, because not only Japan, I mean, the Far East, I mean, they're renowned for their knowledge of how thoughts and vibration coincide with each other. Even in China, they have medicine-less hospitals. Literally, they go in there, and you're surrounded by doctors, but not doctors, but scientists. And actually, they start chanting these metaphors and sending vibrations into the patient, which actually they documented to actually cure diseases and tumors and so on and so forth. I believe in that only because I practiced that. I have practiced how I've changed my attitude in life, which projected my altitude of living. I use these kind of segments here, and I love how you give me the opportunity to promote these kind of things, to prove that what you can't see, indeed, is you're going to be able to see. But you can direct what you want. You can direct the energy. You can direct the thought. You can direct the feeling, how it affects the next reality you're going to live in. This is the beauty of life. We have complete control. But what we allow in, indeed, like you said, The View and other shows in that matter, not that it's a bad show, it's just a negative show. You start letting in all that negativity, look at that cup of rice, look what happened to it. is my point. And that can happen within your own body, per se.
Well, even the skeptics out there, we've all experienced. You walk into a restaurant or a tavern, and there's just something wrong,
Oh,
and
the
you
vibe.
go, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've done that. I'm like, I got to go. I tell them I got to use the restroom. At least I just, if it doesn't feel right, I'm out.
Right.
To me, that has saved me from so much drama. I wish I knew it, obviously, decades ago. But it's wisdom, indeed. It's knowledge. But as you get more, people are so into the science now, and I love how works like you and I and all the other shows out there are promoting the thoughts become things mentality, because indeed what people have been telling us and warning us for thousands of years is finally taking root. All these sages and prophets and all these people out there, just saying the fact that your mind is a creation machine, people are actually starting to believe that now, and they're starting to endow the feelings of it in their own lives. I love it.
Well, we all have intuitions that are trying to look out for our best interests. We just
But
have to recognize them.
But what's the driving force that tells people that they're stupid?
I do.
Begins with a big M.
I'm not up to a quiz tonight. Me.
No.
I tell me I'm stupid.
Media.
No.
Media. I mean, the media and, the news. I could have used M or N. They're telling us don't believe in this, believe in that. There's forces that are surrounding us to get past exactly what you're talking about, the gut feeling, the intuition. We know something is not right, but don't worry, just keep watching it, or keep doing this, or keep injecting this, and you're going to feel so much better. It's when we start believing in ourselves. If energy and vibration intrigues you, do the research. Like I did many moons ago. I said, wait, there's got to be a different way, because here I am working the same amount of hours as I am now, as I was back then, but in a totally different place, feeling completely different than what I am now. So the proof is in the pudding with myself. And I like to share this information with people, especially my followers, your audience, and on a mass scale. I'm a messenger. I love doing this because it gives people a choice. We didn't have these choices many moons ago. We had the three major networks that told us how to think, how to act, how to feel, how the world is. Now the internet says, wait, there's more, just like an infomercial.
Well, absolutely. And we had, Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Green Jeans, and they laid the foundation, so to speak.
But it was good back then. Really. It was good back. They were just teaching us basically, I don't mean to say it, but godly living. It's living as yourself, as your own self. And, God forbid you say God, and you get flagged, man. But at the same time, shows like that just promoted excellence, better feeling, moral values. The basic rudiments of a nice human life, man. But now it's all going against, they're trying to have you go against the grain. Don't believe in yourself. Just follow us. We'll pay all your bills, man. They shoot this narrative, especially governments, how we don't need to take care of ourselves because they will. What I'm saying is, and what I promote with my show and speak to you on and many others about, is that you are the source. You are the power. You don't have to listen to nobody but yourself. And when you start realizing that, you bring back your own power, man.
Well, they all talk about critical thinking, and, in education, they talk about we're not teaching critical thinking anymore.
No.
Why would that be?
No.
Why would that be?
Exactly. My middle daughter left college because of that. Halfway through her studies, she goes, Dad, I am out. They are here to indoctrinate me. I'm like, oh my, she's got my genes. I loved every minute of that because she made a choice. She said, wait, this is not right. They're telling me their own personal perspectives and not allowing me to voice my own personal perspectives on a mass scale with the room. And I applauded her for that. She took the loss, took the hit, didn't care about the loan. She goes, I have a life to live, and it's my choice how I live it. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I promote. I love it.
Well, people might be surprised, but when I went to college, and I didn't believe in what the professor was saying, I helped I helped his perspective.
Well,
And generally there was murmurs and laughter by the other students sitting around me. And the professor adapted. He learned that he shouldn't say certain things in front of me, or he would have to endure what I had to say about it.
I never
And I
understood.
think they
Go
don't
ahead.
allow that anymore. They don't allow that anymore.
No, no, God, no. I mean, you can't voice. And granted, I don't know personally. I go by what my kids have told me from what they've experienced,
Oh yeah.
and I believe them. I mean, I believe them wholeheartedly that everything's been shut down. It's basically brown shirts with bricks on the wall. And I hate to say that, but that's kind of they're saying, wait, listen to us. We don't care what you think. And that's kind of how I was in high school. I mean, I'm very open to my audience the fact that I never finished high school. I said, I don't like what you guys are showing me here. And this is back in what, the 70s? No, I would say early 80s per se. I went back later, yeah, I got the paper per se, and I edified myself in a different format. And believe me, I liked the format, the way I did it. It's almost like I homeschooled myself. And homeschooling now is huge. It's getting up there because it's just teaching you the rudiments about life and not how other people want you to think. They're giving you a platform to just be yourself. And this is what Emoto tried to do. He said, wait, there's a power in this liquid. And we are encumbered in this liquid. All you have to do is direct the power and you're going to create the most amazing life.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to live next door to Emoto and have him talking bad about you.
I know, right? He's directing the but no, you don't want anybody literally talking bad about you
Right.
because they're affecting how you feel. And my peace in my life is the most important asset. My mental peace is, I mean, I made that, commitment many moons ago that if anything's taking my peace, I don't really want to be around it. And that has helped me so much because it keeps that 75% of water I'm filled with like SpongeBob on a good vibrational level. To attain what you want, you have to understand what kind of vibration you're in every day. Watching negative things, being around negative people, and having all this negativity in your life is only going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you physically, mentally, and most importantly, spiritually.
No, absolutely. And it will help you find an early grave if you're not careful.
Yeah. So many of my friends are going down. And these were the guys, I mean, granted, I'm blessed to be hitting that, 60 mark pretty soon. It wasn't that I didn't want to be around that. I just didn't feel right being around that. I love the camaraderie with it. I love here and there and the reunions here and there. But I just didn't fit in. And back then when you were a teenager, feeling like you don't fit in, you feel like there's something wrong with you. No, there's something right with you. Your understanding say, wait, there's something different here that doesn't feel right. You start trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, and realizing that there's something different for you, and you start following that path. You fight it along the way through your 20s. It's amazing how we spend the first part of our lives attaining things, and the second part getting rid of things. You start understanding that, you'll understand how better off you are without all that extra weight, baggage, negativity, and situations and people that are actually bringing you down because they're hurting you in every facet of your life.
One thing perspective that, getting some feedback that I learned today was just because you didn't walk the walk to get your high school diploma with the rest of your class, you could teach in college. You could actually bring something to the table for people, and a lot of people.
Yeah, it's called perspective. Something that colleges really don't allow. That's why I love.
Hey,
Go ahead.
why don't we start Meatball University?
Hey, there you go. MU. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than PU. The internet has given us so much freedom, has given us so much opportunity, has given us so many ways to express ourselves and to share information, wisdom. I feel like I'm doing a commercial. Wisdom and knowledge on a mass scale. That's why I like it. We didn't have this before. I mean, you had to write a book,
Right.
and hopefully get published, by a reputable, publishing house. But if you didn't fit into their narrative, you never had a chance. Now they're all kind of going away by the wayside because now we have this. We have an amazing capacity and capability to express ourselves in the most amazing way by showing who we are and the information that we have.
Well, I agree with you, Jerry. And, we are blessed to be able to do this. And, we've got some fans that come to throw stones at us, and that's fine. And we have some fans that actually come for entertainment value. And then we have some fans that actually respect what we have to say from time to time.
Well, like I always say, I mean, if I can throw a breadcrumb and somebody picks it up and opens a door to want to learn something new, I mean, this is what started me, 15, 16 years ago. I saw one video on YouTube. I said, wait, wow, that's really cool. Let me think of that. And this led to more and more and more, edifying myself more and more and more. That's all I want to do. I want to be the messenger that just opens a door for somebody, because we can't control what people think, but we can show them a way if they'd like to think that way. Maybe it'll help them. Not my way, but if they choose that way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, Jerry. Well, why don't you give us a parting thought, and we'll get out of here, and next week we'll come back new and improved.
Well, thank God for editing. You can kind of just make me look prettier on there with all kind of little sparkles and everything else. But indeed, but to close, it's really simple. When you realize that we are full of this liquid per se, and this liquid listens to us, what are you saying to it every day? What kind of speech are you giving? Speech is like a planned presentation. My planned presentation every day is affirmations. Affirmations are not, redundant words you're saying to yourself. You are reconditioning how you think. Just like you had to reboot your system. We had to get new codes to come on. All affirmations do is reboot how you think to let you think better and or worse about yourself. Whatever speech you're giving yourself every day, you use the mirror technique. I think even Roosevelt used that. You start accomplishing those kind of ideas about yourself with enticing words, inspirational words, and words affecting all that water mass in us, which is a vibrational fact of us. You're going to have a better outcome in your life, emotionally, socially, physically, and or spiritually.
No, I couldn't agree more, Jerry. So, hey, thanks for being here, everybody. This has been Jerry Maldonado. There's Jerry Maldonado, just in case, bringing you Meatball Perspectives. Hang on with us. We'll hope to catch you next week. Take care.